Hobby Lobby haul. I'm gonna tell you guys a tip 1 week from today. Remember that. I'm out here early. I'm going to do some cleanup. I have rooted these sweet potato vines for about 2 weeks, and it was enough for 2 planters. I will have to continue to water these well. You can see some of the roots still sticking out the dirt. I didn't have that much dirt. I have yet to plant these coleus from Tractor Supply. They were $1.50 each. All these coleus was $9. They love shade, so I'm not sure where they're going, but they were in my purple green theme, as if a lot of you guys haven't noticed. I have to do some cleanup. I have me a yard trash bag, and it's gonna take care of all of this debris. These did not survive. This evergreen vine didn't survive. So I'm gonna put all this in a yard trash bag. Get this out of my yard. These are my plants that I rooted from my blue pots. I call it my row of sweet potato vines. And I'm going to add 2 more to it today. My elephant ears, I moved them from the crepe myrtle and I put them over here with my swing. See those weeds popping up? This is a paver patio me and my husband did about 2 years ago. I just had some extra pavers. These pavers have been moved everywhere. I've had them probably for 2 years, and I think this is where they're gonna stay. The reason why weeds are coming up is because I didn't put the paver sand in between them, and I should have. These are my fence planters. I have Super Tunia Vista bubblegum. I have some sweet potato vines, and I have some vinca in the back. My Super Tunia Vista bubblegum is looking very leggy, but I am not going to prune them. I'm just going to see how far they hang down the fence. I moved my middle 2 planters and put these purple hearts. I got these from Tractor Supply, and they really do love sun. And look at the little water droplets over there from the morning. This is where the vinca went. I had these nursery pots from planters that I bought. I took these vincas from my fence planters, and instead of me just trashing them, I cut them back. I repotted them, so I end up with 4 vincas. This is a sweet potato vine that came out one of the fence planters, and these are 2 begonias that were looking very raggedy, and I took them from where they was and cut them back, and I'm gonna see how they do. And this is a purple heart that I had left, so we're gonna see how that does. This is Rehab Row. This is the blue fence planter that I made all the other plants from. Look at how that sweet potato vine is showing out, and it's on the ground on this side. I plan on not making any more plants from this. I want to see how much these sweet potato vines grow. I've always pruned it back to keep it tidy. This year I'm just going to let it go and see how long it gets. The only canna lily I have in the ground. It is showing out. I have cut this thing back probably 5 times this season, starting in the spring. Of course, you know we had that cold snap. I think we had 2 of them, and I cut it all the way back to the mulch. Then we had the triple degree weather. They were sunburned. I cut them all the way back to the mulch. Hopefully I will not have to cut them back anymore. They are doing good and finally blooming. My Greek concrete lawn planters is where I had only vinca. I pulled the vinca out. A lot of it was sun damage. A lot of it had chlorosis. And I put the purple hearts here that I got from Tractor Supply. And I have 2 of these long planters. And I had enough purple hearts for that as well. Actinia is still looking green. It doesn't have chlorosis, but it has a lot of dried leaves that I do need to come and clean out. I just threw these colored bottles on top of a sort of type of mulch. It's working, and I'm just gonna let this go and see how long it gets as well. This is a great trailing plant if you don't like dealing with sweet potato vines due to the insects. I haven't seen any insects really damage these Actinias. These are my small concrete Greek key planters on my pedestals. I have 3 different varieties of sweet potato vines and 1 Super Vista bubblegum. I am not going to prune off of this either, and I'm going to see how long it gets by the time our first frost comes. Hopefully it would just be a beautiful display, and I could definitely need to get great pictures for my garden this season. This is my 2 Dracaenas. I had begonias in here, the begonias on Rehab Row, and now that I took the begonia out, this Dracaena loves sun. Been in this pot for a year, and I think it's kind of evergreen because I don't remember cutting it back, and it's about to catch up to this other one. I had begonias in it as well, and it has been doing good. Some vintage Greek key concrete planters that I got from a thrift store. Both of them were only $42 together. And I moved my ferns from close to the porch, and these are Kimberly Queen, and they are loving it here, along with my black pot that I have 1 purple fountain grass in. This is such a lovely entrance into the oval flower bed. This is how well the Baptisia is going. It was actually doing better than this. I have pruned some of it back already because they were branching so low that they were dragging the ground, and I want to keep it upright and tidy. I'm not sure if I'm going to get another bloom from it. It blooms yellow. It already bloomed for the spring. I cut it back due to insects and chlorosis. My Japanese maple tree, I am so proud of this tree. I put it in the ground, and that was the best thing I did. They did say it was for full sun, and this tree has been handling the triple-degree weather and even the upper 90s as well. I have really no sunburn on this tree. Crimson Queen does handle full sun if you put it in the ground and plant it correctly. These are the only 2 houses I have in my yard because they're under the crepe myrtle tree. This is the only shade I have in the front yard, and they're doing pretty good. This is my faux grass I got from a liquidator store. I have 4 pieces. I moved 1 piece from up under this swing, and I'm thinking about cutting it and putting it back in just the center of the swing, and these pieces will probably stay there. Look at how beautiful that is. I wish I had enough for my entire front yard. I wouldn't have to cut grass anymore. This area was where the faux grass was that I got from the liquidator store. This is where I'm going to put flagstone and the pebbles in between, and hopefully I will get that done by the end of December. All this area is going to be pebbles and flagstone. It's going to be my front yard courtyard. I can't wait till that happens. These are the 2 sweet potato vines, rootings that I rooted for 2 weeks in water, and now they're being put in dirt. And I could have made more. I really just didn't have that much dirt. And I just wanted to get them out of the water because that water was really getting very smelly. Update on the Dracaena. It is handling outdoors close to the porch. This is pretty much how it looked when I got it. Probably hence why it was half off. And this is when I made the one plant had 4 stalks, all rooted, root bind in one pot from Lowe's for $30, and I made 4 plants out of it. This is what they're looking like now, close to the house. I still have these 2 dark elephant ears close to the house. When fall comes, I will move it probably out into the oval flower bed, but right now this is where it is. This Japanese maple tree, it's time to prune it. It is getting very top heavy. I got some inspiration from the Japanese restaurant, and I'm going to try to get this pruned where I can actually see the trunk. Right now I can't see the trunk at all, and I'm gonna really go in and give it a hard prune. They said this is the best time because the tree will not run sap. Don't do it in the spring or the winter. This Japanese maple, I hope it survives. I pruned it down because you see this discoloration? I pruned it from where it was because it was black all the way above where I pruned it on every last one of them. I hope that's not disease, and as it get cooler, I will keep an eye on this tree to make sure I continue to cut off this black area. I do need to get this in the ground. Not sure where it's going, but it's not here. My darn red bud is getting a lot of sunburn, but I'm not gonna go in and take it off. I probably will not let this tree get no taller than what it is now. It could get up to 30 feet tall, but I'm not gonna let it get this tall. This is probably the tallest I'm gonna let it get. I'll just keep chopping the top off. This is my pentas. It was in the overflower bed. I had it inside one of my black pots, and I moved it. See that moth? That is what lays eggs on your plants, and those, when they become caterpillars, they eat off all your plants. These are my other 2 Mexican pottery fish small planters, and I put sweet potato vines in them. These was made from the purple. These was made from rootings as well. And I have another one on that. These are Medusa sweet potato vines. First time having them. I will get them again. They said they're great for hanging baskets because the way they mound and grow upright and weeping. And I have 2 of them. I only bought 2 of them, but I'm gonna try to overwinter them and see how they go and see if I could save them. If not, I'll only buy a few of those. And they don't take as much water as my other planter. I think I got this probably from Home Goods. I have some grass growing in it, and when I first bought the grass, it reminded me of hair, and it was so long, it was as long as the planter when it draped down. Well, I cut it back because it was getting sunburned. Maybe I wouldn't give it enough water, so I moved it here to remind myself to water it more. And I also made a little trench for when I water it, the water will stay instead of a lot of the dirt making a mess coming out. These are, I'm not sure the name of this plant. If you do, comment down below. I got these from Tractor Supply for only $5. This is where my Kimberly Queen was, and I moved them to the outer flower bed because this requires more shade, and it's doing great here and doesn't require that much water as well. These are the begonias that I cut all the way back, and they flushed. I cut this thing all the way back with no leaves at all. It is doing a great comeback. I see some of the leaves are either eaten by insects or sunburn, but that's okay. I am not going to cut it back again. I try to keep things tidy. And the white dust residue you see is 7 Dust Captain Jacks to help with insects. My miniature roses, they're not doing so good. I do see a bud coming, so that's great, but it does have chlorosis. But they were an experiment. I got them from Lidl, the grocery store, for only $2.99. 3 Italian cypress. I have them outside the fence. I'm glad they're still green. I'm glad they were small because I didn't have to dig such a big hole. And what's at the bottom is hollytone. They really don't get much water unless it's raining. This is the other fence plant, blue pot on the outside of the fence. Again, this is the planters that I made all of the other sweet potato vines. I have made about 15 sweet potato vines from these planters. And here's the other one. Look at how this sweet potato vine is showing out. Look at that. Can't hardly see the pot. I don't plan on pruning this anymore. I will continue to fertilize it, and I will continue to water it once a day. I'm gonna leave it alone and not prune it anymore and see how massive this thing gets. It's funny how you can experiment with your planters. This sweet potato vine in the blue pots was planted around the same time as this other one. Look at how this one is trailing all the way down. But this one has yet to trail all the way down. I am going to give you guys a closer look at these sweet potato vines. Do you see any insect damage? I have cut these sweet potatoes down for rootings, making more plants. I have cut this sweet potato vine for insect damage and chlorosis. And look at it. Showing out with very minimum insect damage. When I see an insect damaged leaf, I take it off. Keep it tidy. I have 4 fence brackets of planters on the outside of my fence. This one, my sweet potato vines is suffering from chlorosis, but that's okay. I'm gonna stop cut. I usually pluck off the yellow leaves, but I'm just gonna try to treat it with some liquid ironite and see how it goes. But this fence planter is doing so well. I have 2 of them. It's just funny how you could plant things around the same time and they don't progress the same way. This is on the outside of my fence with just sweet potato vines. And let's see how this one is doing. It's more leggy on one side, but the sad news is I lost the greenery on this side. I was thinking about putting another sweet potato vine in it, but I just said I'm not, unless it's later on during the year.